Welcome back to Little English Studio, where we travel through history and across the world to discover humanity's greatest stories, told in clear, beautiful English for learners and dreamers. Today our journey takes us to a land divided yet rich in shared heritage, to the ancient city of Kaesong, the forgotten heart of the Korean peninsula. Once the radiant capital of the Goryeo Dynasty, Kaesong was a city of scholars, silk merchants, royal palaces, and Buddhist temples. Its story is one of beauty and loss, wisdom and war, a tale that reveals the soul of a nation that has survived for over 1,000 years. Long before the neon lights of Seoul and the modern skyline of Pyongyang, there was Kaesong. Nestled among rolling hills and misty mountains in what is now North Korea, the city began its rise in the 10th century when King Sejong established it as the capital of the newly founded Goryeo Dynasty in 918 AD. This dynasty gave Korea its very name, Goryeo, which evolved into Korea in Western languages. From this small but strategically placed city, a powerful and cultured kingdom would grow, uniting the Korean peninsula after centuries of division. Kaesong became not just a political center, but the beating heart of a new civilization. As the Goryeo kings built their palaces and temples, Kaesong blossomed. The city's layout reflected Confucian ideals, harmony between humans and nature, order between rulers and subjects. Its streets followed the curves of the surrounding hills, and its gates faced sacred mountains believed to protect the kingdom. The Manwoldae Palace, perched elegantly on the slopes of Songgak Mountain, became the royal residence. Unlike the later Joseon palaces in Seoul, Manwoldae was built in balance with nature, open courtyards, ponds reflecting the sky, pavilions shaded by pines. It was said that from its highest terrace, one could see the mist drift like silk across the valley at dawn. Under Goryeo rule, Kaesong became one of East Asia's most vibrant cities. Its fame spread along trade routes that linked China, Japan, and even the Islamic world. Merchants carried celadon pottery, fine silk, and ginseng, goods that became symbols of Korean craftsmanship. Goryeo celadon, with its delicate green glaze and elegant shapes, was so admired that Chinese scholars once wrote, "Even jade bows its head before Goryeo porcelain." Kaesong was also a city of ideas. The Goryeo court embraced Buddhism as the state religion, and magnificent temples such as Songgyungwan, Songwangsa and Poyeonsa became centers of spiritual and academic life. Scholars studied the Tripitaka Korina, a monumental collection of Buddhist scriptures carved onto over 80,000 wooden blocks, a work of devotion and precision unmatched even today. This era saw an extraordinary coexistence of spiritual faith and worldly sophistication. Monks debated philosophy beside merchants counting silver coins. Royal envoys discussed diplomacy while poets composed verses about cherry blossoms and moonlight over Kaesong's riverbanks. Kaesong's geographical position made it a bridge between worlds. Located near the border of present-day North and South Korea, it connected the peninsula's northern mountains to its southern plains. In ancient times, it served as a gateway for cultural exchange. Chinese envoys arrived bearing books and silks. Japanese delegations came to learn and trade. The city's markets echoed with voices speaking multiple languages, a living reminder that civilization thrives on connection. Even politically, Goryeo was renowned for its diplomacy. Unlike many medieval kingdoms that survived by war alone, Goryeo's strength lay in balance, knowing when to resist and when to negotiate. Kaesong's court maintained delicate relationships with the Song and Yuan dynasties of China, ensuring peace while preserving sovereignty. This skillful diplomacy allowed the dynasty to endure for nearly 500 years, but even golden ages must fade. By the 14th century, corruption, factional conflict, and Mongol invasions weakened the Goryeo state. Kaesong's palaces were burned and rebuilt many times as wars swept through the land. Eventually, in 1392, a new general named Songgyungwan overthrew the dynasty and founded the Joseon dynasty, moving the capital to Hanyang, modern-day Seoul. Kaesong's lights dimmed. The royal court, scholars, and merchants migrated south, and the once proud city slowly transformed from a capital into a provincial town. Yet even in decline, Kaesong retained a quiet dignity. Its temples continued to ring with the sound of bells. Its craftsmen continued to produce fine ginseng and ceramics that were prized across Asia. Fast forward to the 20th century. The tides of history turned harsh once again. After Korea's liberation from Japanese rule in 1945, the peninsula was divided along the 38th parallel, with Kaesong lying just to the north, inside what became North Korea. During the Korean War 1950–1953, the city changed hands several times between North and South forces. By the end of the conflict, it was officially part of the North. In the decades that followed, Kaesong remained relatively untouched by modern industrialization. While Pyongyang grew into a planned capital filled with concrete monuments, Kaesong preserved its older character: narrow streets, wooden houses, and quiet temples hidden in the hills. This unintentional preservation later helped historians and archaeologists study Korea's medieval past more authentically. In 2013, UNESCO designated the historic monuments and sites in Kaesong as a World Heritage Site, recognizing the city's unique blend of Confucian, Buddhist, and urban traditions from the Goryeo period. This listing includes several key sites: the Manwoldae Palace ruins, Songgyungwan Confucian Academy, the Kaesong City Wall, Namdaemun Gate, mausoleums of Goryeo kings, and the Sonjuk Bridge. The Manwoldae Palace is the crown jewel of Kaesong's heritage. Excavations over the years have revealed stone foundations, roof tiles, and fragments of Celadon pottery that once decorated the royal halls. Archaeologists from both North and South Korea have conducted joint studies here, one of the rare examples of peaceful cooperation across the border. Legends say that Manwoldae was named the place where the full moon rests. It's easy to imagine why. Even in ruin, the site exudes grace. Standing among the remnants, with the wind brushing through tall grass and the silhouette of Songgak Mountain rising beyond, one can almost see the reflection of moonlight on ancient ponds, hear the laughter of courtiers, and sense the hum of life from a vanished era. Another vital landmark is Songgyungwan, the highest educational institution of the Goryeo Dynasty. Here, young scholars prepared for the Goryeo, or civil service examinations, studying the teachings of Confucius, history, poetry, and governance. Success in these exams could elevate a commoner into the ranks of the literati, proof that intellect and moral virtue, not just birthright, shaped one's destiny in Goryeo society. Songgyungwan's stone courtyards, lecture halls, and ancient ginkgo trees still whisper lessons of wisdom and patience. Even today, North Korean students occasionally visit for commemorations, reciting Confucian verses that have survived 1,000 years. Among Kaesong's most poignant symbols is Sonjuk Bridge, a small stone crossing where a loyal minister named Jeong Mongju was assassinated in 1392 for refusing to betray the Goryeo king. His final poem, written before his death, reads, "Though this body may perish 100 times, my heart, red as ever, shall never change." This verse became a symbol of loyalty and integrity throughout Korean history. Even the founders of the new Joseon dynasty honored Jeong Mongju for his steadfastness. Today, visitors still cross Sonjuk Bridge in silence, feeling the weight of history in its moss-covered stones. Modern Kaesong stands as a paradox, a city caught between past and present, politics and peace. It is home to around 300,000 residents and has become known for the Kaesong Industrial Complex, a special economic zone that once allowed South Korean companies to employ North Korean workers. Although this cooperation has been suspended at times due to political tension, it symbolizes a hope that the spirit of connection, so central to Kaesong's history, might someday return. Tourists who visit the area, on rare supervised tour, often describe it as hauntingly beautiful. The streets are lined with low, traditional houses and tiled roofs. Hills surround the city like natural guardians, just as they did a millennium ago. Kaesong remains proud of its heritage, teaching schoolchildren about the Goryeo kings and their contributions to Korean culture. More than any single monument or dynasty, Kaesong represents something deeply human, the endurance of identity through division and time. It reminds us that the Korean peninsula, though politically split, shares a history too intertwined to ever be forgotten. When UNESCO recognized Kaesong, it wasn't merely to preserve ruins, it was to preserve memory. The memory of a civilization that valued wisdom, artistry, and harmony. The memory of a time when Korea's name first echoed across the seas. And perhaps most importantly, the memory of how beauty and thought can endure even in the shadow of conflict. Kaesong, a city of kings and scholars, of loss and light. Its palaces may have fallen, but its story still shines like moonlight on ancient stone. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Every week, Little English Studio brings you another story from our shared human heritage, told in simple English, for those who love learning and discovery. Until next time, keep your heart curious and your mind open.